Welcome everyone tonight. Thank you for coming out. This is the Ferrysburg Candidates Forum, sponsored by the Ferrysburg Candidate Forum Committee. Could I ask the committee members to stand up, please? Thank you. Thank you. So, is our representative from the League of Women Voters here? Thank you. Thank you. So, this is the second time we've hosted an event in Ferrysburg, and we try to follow the model and the leadership of the League of Women Voters, but you can't always get the event that you want, so we're hoping that you'll all be happy with the event tonight. And one of the key rules we ask is everyone to be respectful of different points of view, respectful and polite and considerate. And we hope the committee and the moderators have selected some good questions that will be meaningful for the audience. And I'm going to turn it over to the two moderators, but you'll do the candidate introductions, or should I?
I think you should, because of the two people who aren't here.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to first mention that we tried to get a date that was good for everyone. Two candidates who are currently on City Council were not able to be here tonight, and I think it's only fair that we recognize them. It's not that we're trying to exclude them. That's Councilmember Bill Cate and Councilwoman Deb Murdoch. So they're not here tonight, but starting on my right, Tim O'Donnell, he is running the write-in campaign. He is a former member of City Council. Then Rich Carlson, our mayor. Jerry Cyrus, a council member who is running for mayor. And newcomer Dave Cook, first time running for council. And I'm Gary Post, a member of the committee. And with that, I'm very happy that we have two wonderful moderators working with us tonight to present this event. Sarah Leach from Ottawa News Network and Mary Ellen Murphy from WGHN. So,
all right, we'll take it away. The next 90 minutes will be informative, civil, most importantly, fun for everyone who wants to know more about who is running in this year's city races. It's nice to see a lot of people here. It tells me that you're engaged, and that's a good thing. I'm Mary Ellen Murphy from WGHN Radio. Normally I'm in my pajamas at this time, so it's nice to see all of you.
And I'm Sarah Leach from the Ottawa News Network, and I'm normally in my pajamas all the time.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. We'll be asking the questions. Residents submitted these questions over the past week. Candidates will have 90 seconds to introduce themselves to the residents. In the question portion, candidates will be given 90 seconds to respond to each question. We have an official timekeeper who will hold up a yellow card when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining. The red card indicates that the candidate's time is up. This is actually being recorded for Ottawa News Network's YouTube channel, and it'll be posted by tomorrow, October 1st.
And the Grand Haven Tribune is also here.
Wonderful. All right, Sarah, you ready?
Okay, so this first question is for the mayoral candidate specifically. Name 3 specific goals you want to achieve if elected, including any actions the city would have to take to achieve those goals. Mr. Carlson, if you could start.
Do we start off with 90 seconds introduction?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we are starting with a 90-second introduction. We forgot to say
I
that.
forgot that, sorry. See, in radio, I would...
It's in the script.
Yeah, you'd rewind that, edit it, splice it, and...
Yeah, I always start.
But you can't do that here. I'm sorry.
This is going to be great for the podcast tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Who would you like to go first?
Okay, so let's start with Mr. O'Donnell.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ladies, for moderating this tonight and for the forum committee that put this together. Always a pleasure to come out and talk to people. I love talking to people, interacting with them. That's why I got involved on City Council. This time around, there's a few things that I'm concerned about that were overlooked by the current council that I want to hopefully get reenacted, such as representation of the city in Lansing. There's been a couple items that have fallen through. The city has come close to getting some things they would not like to have. And also rein in some of the spending that I see that is not necessary. We're in a very frugal time that we need to be watching what we spend and planning for the future. And I got some more to say later on, but thank you for coming tonight.
Mr. Carlson.
Oh, very good. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the city as the mayor for the last 2 years in November. Before that, I had been on city council for 6 years and have enjoyed it immensely. Before that, of course, I grew up in Petoskey and I've been in Ferrysburg for 13 years. I work for Donald Engineering, which is down by the Grand Haven Airport, so I work every day 8 to 5, and certainly after that as well. Also, in addition to that, as mayor, I serve on the planning commission. I got involved in politics here in Ferrysburg because the city council was doing some saber rattling about selling a park here in Ferrysburg, the Ferrysburg Nature Preserve. So I joined with a bunch of citizens and got recruited to run for city council and won, and away we go, and now I'm mayor, and that's the way it is. But when I was serving on city council, that's when we closed the Smiths Bridge, and I got with a group of citizens when I was on city council, and we were able to raise the funds to fund an engineering study and reopen the bridge. The city council wasn't able, and here it is. Next year we're going to be going out for bids. So all in all, been very successful, and it's been a fantastic experience. Thank you.
Mr. Sykes.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. I believe that community engagement is crucial for moving our future and moving our city into the future. My name is Jerry Sias. I now serve on city council. I've been on city council for 6 years, and now I'm running to be your mayor. Many of you know that I was born and raised here in Ferrysburg. I graduated from Grand Haven High School in 1990. After high school, I had some self-preservations about going to college. I had some growing up to do, so I found that the military was a good fit for me. I'm a decorated Gulf War veteran, and while I was in the military, I learned the true meaning of integrity, leadership, and accountability. And those are morals that I hold with me dearly and carry with me every day. I am really grateful and humbled to be your councilman. And when I ran for council, I ran as a write-in candidate. And the reason I ran is because the bridge folks were being silenced. They weren't being heard. They weren't being allowed to plead their case and open the bridge without another inspection that they were willing to pay for. And I thought that was reasonable. And I thought that the council was doing the city a disservice by not listening to this group. So I ran for council as a write-in. I won that race, and we were able to win and open the bridge. Thank you.
Mr. Cook.
Hey, I'm Dave Cook. I was raised in Ferrysburg. I went to the school, actually, in this classroom. I also attended Lake Hills, and I graduated from Grand Haven High School in the early 2000s. I am a graduate of Clarkson University in upstate New York. I hold an MBA, a master's degree in water resources, as well as a bachelor's degree in geology. I have lived all across the country. I've worked for 15 years in local government. I have experience at a regional government in New York State. We did shared services among small communities. I worked in the engineering division there. After that, I worked for Ottawa County in technology and business management. Thereafter, I was the financial systems administrator for the city of Grand Rapids. Since then, I have worked in the private sector for about 4 years. The company I work for is a large government contractor based in DFW. As far as my time as an adult in the city, I moved back with my family in 2021. We were living in Grand Rapids at the time, but wanted to relocate to be closer to mom and dad and raise our family here in Ferrysburg. Currently, I serve as an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Thank you.
Okay, take two for question number one. I'll remind that this is for the mayoral candidate specifically. Name 3 goals you want to achieve if elected, including any actions the city would have to take to achieve those goals. And whichever person has the microphone,
That's
Mr.
fine.
Sias, go ahead.
Yeah, I have some passionate goals, some things that I've been trying to accomplish for the past couple of years. One is to create an arts council in the city of Ferrysburg. I believe that this is a great opportunity to create community involvement and celebrate our local talents and bring in outside talents. It could also be a great source of outside revenue for our city. We could hold art sales in the park and charge application fees to the vendors. We could decorate our city hall with paintings and charge commissions to sell them here in the city hall. I believe that the arts encompass so many different aspects of our lives, and if you really think about it, your imagination can run away with all the things that we could do with an arts council in this city. To accomplish an arts council, first we would have to approve it by city council, then we'd have to create an arts council, appoint the board, and then they would have to create their charter. I don't think that is something that would be tough to accomplish. I think it's a reasonable goal. Another thing I want to do is create more access to the waterfront for residents. I believe this can be accomplished fairly inexpensively and perhaps done by a fundraiser. I'm on time.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson.
Thank you. So 3 specific goals to achieve. Number 1 would be passage to the street millage. The city is funded, through property taxes, and with the Headley Amendment, every year the amount is being reduced because due to inflation. In other words, our expenses are increasing more than the rate of inflation. And so we can finance by either doing an override of the Headley Amendment or pass street millages and motor pool millages like what we've done in the past. And so street millage is job number 1. Number 2 is Smith's Bridge is going out for bids in June of 2026. And we need to make sure that revenue is solid and stable and still coming in. And then guide that through as well, because the engineering is being completed now and getting ready for bids in June. And then third, most importantly, is we completed the master plan last December, and 2 things that were highlighted were housing and economic development. And that's something that we're really taking to task, as I mentioned before, on Planning Commission. I serve on Planning Commission. And that would be my 3rd goal.
Thank you.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Oh, no, you have to read the second question.
There we go, I'm sorry. And that is for you, Mr. O'Donnell, the second question.
Mr. O'Donnell?
You have to read that.
For all candidates, do you support efforts to override the current cap on taxation in Ferrysburg in order to increase available funding for essential city infrastructure and equipment? Would you support a ballot initiative for Ferrysburg voters to approve a Headley override? Would you raise property taxes for all parcels in Ferrysburg? Please explain your answer.
I do support the Headley override. It would not raise taxes. Raise taxes is actually a incorrect or misleading phrase. It is not a new tax. What it does is first understand the raising taxes. It doesn't raise taxes. It raises the amount that you pay on your taxes. There's a difference. The mayor and the council do not have control over taxes are collected. The state and the residents do. The residents are the ones that control whether property taxes go up. Anyone who says differently, they're not telling you the truth. A mayor or candidate cannot tell you, I'm going to keep the taxes low, I'm going to keep them high, or I'm going to keep them from raising. Support the Headley Amendment, setting aside all the legal mumbo jumbo. The override allows the city to collect what has already been approved by the voters. No new taxes. It goes down by, according to the Headley Amendment, and what it does, the Headley overrides allows the city to raise it back up to the starting. Our funds already approved by the voters.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson?
I'll get into the weeds real quick on the Headley Amendment. And I'm in support of either an override or doing business as we have in the past, which is coming before the voters for a motor pool and for streets. Whichever one the public is comfortable with, either or, we have to have the revenue to provide the same amount of services. You know, the Headley Amendment makes it so your property taxes don't rise more than the rate of inflation. And we've got the motor pool millage is expiring next year, and that's almost 1/2 of a mil. And the streets are 1.5 mils. So essentially, you could take, and you don't have to do a full override of the Headley. Right now, we're collecting 7.4%. We're authorized for 11. We could increase the property tax rate by 2 mils and not have to come before the public for streets and motor pool. That's what's the choice that we've got to make as to which direction to go. I'm ambivalent as to which one. Headley override, of course, would provide stable revenue to the city rather than having to constantly come before the voters to get passage.
Mr. Sias?
Yeah, I've spoken on this several times, and my answer is still the same. The Headley Amendment is a great concern, no doubt. It has decreased the amount of taxes our community can collect over the years. I believe we need to explore several other options, maybe make some uncomfortable cuts and decisions before asking for a rollback from our residents. I'm not a Headley or budget expert. I don't pretend to know everything, but I've been told by rolling back to Headley, taxes would raise by 7% on a conservative side, all the way up to 32% on the high side. Either way, that increase is too high. A lot of our residents are elderly and live on a fixed income. They can hardly afford taxes now with the increase of everything else. Another reason I disagree with a rollback is because it gives the city the opportunity to spend the funds on whatever it chooses. After exploring every option and still finding ourselves in a deficit, I would rather ask the citizens for a millage to address city expenses. The residents have control how a millage is spent.
Mr. Cook?
To my knowledge, there are no current efforts to override the Headley Amendment in the city. This just seems like a carefully placed talking point for the purpose of vetting candidates for this election cycle. The Headley Amendment could be overwritten or otherwise circumvented via a ballot initiative that we've already talked about, possibly an amendment to the city charter, a lobbying effort targeting state legislators, or creating a special assessment district or districts within the city. Supporting a ballot initiative in official capacity is a violation of the Michigan Campaign Finance Law. Michigan State Department of Treasury's Form L4029 shows the millage rate authorized under the city's charter of 11 mils. The amount each taxpayer is paying is calculated based on their property's taxable value divided by 1,000 times the millage rate. Under Proposal A and the Headley Amendment, the authorized amount is 7.39 mils. So as we already said, there is a gap of 3.61. If the Headley Amendment was overturned in full, the tax revenue would increase approximately $680,000 a year. That's not much money. As I wrote in my unofficial capacity on Ferrysburg Informed, a ballot initiative overturning the Headley Amendment would be both unpopular and unsuccessful. Therefore, as a voter and not in my official capacity, I would vote no on such a ballot measure.
Thank you. Next question. Do you support the recent lawsuit filed by the city against Grand Haven Board of Light and Power to recover snow melt charges in Grand Haven? Why or why not? We'll start with Mr. Carlson. We are taking turns.
Are we? Let's talk about snow melt. This has been festering for a few years, and it's about government behaving badly. And it's not about snow melt. It's about the fact that you have a government agency that is taxing us without representation. They just threw the bills, they threw the snow melt fees onto your utility bills. And if they can do that, they could also do it for Harbor Island cleanup, which is full of PFAS. What else could the city of Grand Haven throw on your utility bill here in Grand Haven or any of the neighboring townships? Or you cannot have a government run amok like this. So it's not about snow melt. We have a contract to operate with the Board of Light and Power, allowing them to come into the city to sell us electric service, not snow melt. And all we're doing is enforcing that using the Bolt Act. That's the snow melt in a nutshell. Who would like to go next?
Mr. Sykes.
I do not support this lawsuit. I feel that it is petty at this point. It does not do anything for our citizens. They will not recoup any funds for this lawsuit. It has been stated that this lawsuit is only valued at $150, that the city was overcharged, that we would be suing the Board of Light and Power for. And I don't think that amount of money is worth our relationship with our fellow municipality. It sounds great, hoorah, hoorah, taxation without representation, and we're gonna make an example out of them. But I think we have enough of that in this country right now. I think we need a little more compassion and a little bit more ability to work together with our neighbors. And so therefore, I do not support this lawsuit.
Mr. Cook. Oh, other way.
Oh, sorry.
As of this morning, there was no public record of a lawsuit being filed by the city of Ferrysburg against the GHBLP in the 20th Circuit or 58 district courts. I have watched the city council meeting where this was discussed. The lawsuit was meant to recover between $16,000 and $17,000 of fees the city paid as a ratepayer to the Snow Mountain City of Grand Haven. My concern is that the utility would simply allocate the cost of the snow melt somewhere else and make it less obvious, thus more difficult for us to recover through legal means. It was stated that the value of the lawsuit is the precedent it would set. I think the true value would probably be in the information that comes from the legal discovery process. The previous Grand Haven Council's relationship with the BLP and the Charter Change Coalition is very troubling to me. The fact that the Grand Haven Board of Light and Power is a municipally owned utility and has a separate board and operations is Ferrysburg ratepayers' greatest asset in a time when stockholder-owned utilities are substantially increasing their rates. State legislators are also courting EI data center development in their service areas. This is all leading to escalating costs for electricity and utilities across the country. Assuming the lawsuit's discovery process would yield valuable information to ratepayers and strengthen our position to keep the BLP's governance separate and independent, then yes, I support the lawsuit.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
First off, no, I do not support the lawsuit. The only ones that benefit from lawsuits are lawyers. They're the ones that make the money, and what we paid on our bill was $7.50 for the 10 months that we were charged 75 cents a month. I was the one that discovered it on the bill. I brought it before the council to take action to get it removed, and we did. The other thing is, like it was stated down here, is energy companies, they just pass the cost on to the consumers, and they can put it in some other form. So, no, the lawsuit is not good. It's not going to benefit the residents, and that is my concern, is let's do what benefits the residents. If anything, it'd be nice of them to say, hey, we'll give you a $7.50 credit.
Thank you. Next question. The city's ethics ordinance formerly sent all complaints to the city attorney for review. Now complaints are first reviewed by council and only sent to the city attorney if they appear to merit such review. Do you support the recent revision to the ethics ordinance in Ferrysburg that made this change? Mr. Science.
No, I do not. I have no faith that our council will hold itself accountable. They've already shown with the first ethics complaint that came through last month that they will not follow procedure. Procedure calls for council to reject a complaint, any ethics complaint. It does not say that the mayor can take an ethics complaint off the agenda at his own will. It says only council can do that. So I don't have a lot of faith in our new ordinance. I would rather have seen an ethics committee formed that would be formed of 3 nonpartisan members that would look at all of our ethics complaints and see if there is any validity to them, and then pass them on to our attorney. I never wanted city council to have that power, and I do not trust that power in city council's hands, including my own hands. So therefore, I do not support it.
Mr. Cook.
According to the city's response to a citizen's recent FOIA request, there have been 9 disposed ethics complaints since March of 2023, when the ordinance was created. My understanding is there are currently 3 to 4 additional complaints pending assignment to the city council's agenda. Of the disposed complaints, 50% are against one individual who's here tonight. All complaints involve a member of the city's council and or a city member of the city's boards or commissions as either the complainant or the respondent. To my knowledge, none of the city's ethics complaints have resulted in a positive finding of unethical behavior against the respondent. I believe the intent of the amendment was to winnow the number of complaints going to the attorney in order to save taxpayer dollars, because those are billable services for our legal department to look at. I agree with the intent of the ordinance amendment, so yes, I support it, but the mechanics of the existing ordinance leave a lot to be desired. For instance, complaints are ultimately disposed of by the city's attorney, who is also charged with defending the city and its elected and appointed officials. This represents a conflict of interest. Also, the city's official form says, and I quote, that the board has no authority and cannot consider complaints about elected officials or local government employees. Therefore, you really can't charge somebody who's already on council with unethical behavior because the form says you can't do it.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you. I think it's very interesting that the group that got this ordinance removed was also the group that originally wanted an ethics ordinance and fought very hard for it. What we have now is basically the state law. We have no true city ordinance for ethics. It's based off of Michigan Criminal Law Act 196 of 1973, subsections 15.341. It went a little bit too far, where the code of conduct was attached to it, and that also apparently has been removed. So there is no current code of conduct which allows city employees, commissioners, elected officials, other employees of the city to do whatever they want and not be held accountable for it. So I think something needs to be looked at where we at least bring back the code of conduct. Also, if elected officials remember who they work for, which is all of you out there would be no need for the ethics ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Excuse me,
Oh,
one more response.
oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Carlson.
It's late.
Very factual responses by everyone. I really appreciate it. It's true, there's been 9 ethics ordinances that have been, violations that have been filed. They've all been deemed invalid. There's some more that have been filed. We'll see how those go. The question is posed as to, do I support the fact that the ethics ordinance violations come to city council first rather than the attorney? Yes, we just decided that because of the fact that we've had so many frivolous lawsuits, we didn't feel right sending them to the attorney. And as Mr. Cook pointed out, he has a conflict of interest just because of the relationship that he has with the city. And so we felt that it would be best to have it go through common sense people on city council first before it gets on to the attorney.
Next question. Would you support a dissolution study to see if there are cost savings for taxpayers to dissolve the city of Ferrysburg and join a neighboring municipality? Please describe your thoughts, and we'll start with Mr. Cook this time.
There has been a lot of rhetoric among city council members and the public for managing city costs and ultimately taxes paid by property owners. The majority of the chatter has focused on increasing revenue via increased taxes. Another alternative I spoke about during the League of Women Voters Forum was exploring shared services opportunities to reduce costs for citizens. The last area for exploring potential cost savings is evaluating the need for the city itself and how discontinuing it through dissolution could affect the rate taxpayers pay. I think if measures like the Headley Amendment are being considered, then anything is on the table for evaluation, study, and ultimately information dissemination to citizens. By the way, dissolution would have to be voted on by the city of Ferrysburg and whatever municipality we dissolve into if we did choose to do that. Why wouldn't someone be supportive of looking into the potential negatives and positives of dissolution?
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
My answer, no. 100% definitely, without a doubt, no. It does not work. It's been tried in other areas. The services that usually get cut or reduced are your public services, DPW, fire, EMS, etc. It's called the Public Safety Department. That's why Grand Haven has a Public Safety Department, is they consolidated their services. You have police, fire, and EMS personnel that are trained in all those services. So you get 3 for 1. Doesn't work. Never has worked in any city that has tried it. Currently, you have what I feel is the #1 fire department in this area. You have very dedicated individuals. You also, unknown to a lot of people, we have what's called auto aid. Anytime the fire department is dispatched to a fire in this city, Spring Lake and Crockery also respond to those fires. That is looked at by the insurance companies and gives you a reduced rate already. So it does not have to worry about dissolution and what it costs you. You're saving money on your insurance because of it.
Mr. Carlson?
I'll reiterate what Mr. O'Donnell said about the fire rating. That's extremely important for mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance on your home and for commercial properties. And we do have an extremely low rate here. We've got good equipment. We're looking at, we're in a 2-year schedule now, either in the next city council meeting or the next one, to look at purchasing a fire engine. That's another reason for the motor pool millage, to be sure that we get that, to make sure that we can maintain that good fire rating. Going back to the question about the dissolution, I've never heard any talk about dissolution in City Hall. If citizens would be interested in dissolution, I don't know what they'd be dissolving into, going from a city and joining a township. We're joining a village, or the closest city to us that's not across the river is Norton Shores. Are we going to join Norton Shores? I'm not sure. But I have not heard any chatter about dissolution. We've worked a long time with our neighbors for police protection. We share police protection with Spring Lake, and that's worked out extremely well. As Tim has said, we share for fire as well. So,
Mr. Sykes?
Yeah, being a lifelong resident, it seems to me that this issue comes up about every 20 years or so. I believe it was actually on the ballot at once when we had our own Ferrysburg police department. We were considering joining with the township and also joining our police department with Spring Lake. And we did end up joining our police department with Spring Lake. Later we resolved that, now we're just with the sheriffs. But it seems like this issue does come up once in a while. Typically, it's rejected by the citizens. I think that the people of Ferrysburg are proud to be, I call them burgers. You know, I think we're all proud to be burgers, and I think it shows who we are. It gives us a sense of identity and community, and I just don't see the need for joining with the township. Our taxes are fairly low, lower than part of the township. I believe a little bit higher than other parts of the township. But I would be afraid of losing services as well. We have a lot of great services in our city that the township doesn't offer, and I think that we should cherish that and continue on as is.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Should the city of Ferrysburg be more proactive in promoting an all-welcoming message for new residents, visitors, and current residents to overcome a sense of bias and prejudice in the community? If so, how? Mr. O'Donnell, we'll go to you first.
Actually, that's one of the reasons that I'm running for office, is that we have currently a council that has created a adversarial atmosphere towards certain residents of the city. There has been intimidation, the reduction over the years of our constitutional rights of free speech, and there's going to be even more restriction on our free speech. As far as the actual bias of this city, I don't see it. We have a very welcoming city. The prejudices, I don't see it. We have people of all races in this city. When I look at the city, I love it. I love living here. I came here 15 years ago. My question is, and always will be when I make decisions for the city, is what is best for the residents of this city, for the residents of Ferrysburg. Thank you.
Mr. Carlson?
once again, agreeing with Mr. O'Donnell, I certainly don't see any prejudice or anything like that in our community. It's been a fantastic experience by getting into politics and getting to know all the different shapes and sizes and personalities and political persuasions of all of the people that you get to interact with, which is a lot of fun. If you look at our boards and commissions, we've got a great roundup of tremendous talent. Many of you are serving on boards and commissions that are sitting here, and you know when I say we, I say I've tried really hard to get young people, to get old people. I've got raging Democrats that I won't talk national politics to at all. I got raging Republicans that I won't talk national politics at all. But thank God Ferrysburg politics is nonpartisan. And I just haven't seen any problem with prejudice here at all. And in terms of what Mr. O'Donnell was saying about the City Hall attacking people, the City Council feels attacked by a few individuals. All of these ethics complaints are coming from a very focused group of 3 or 4 people. all the time, whether it's the ethics complaints or FOIA requests. I don't see the general citizenry up in arms about ethics complaints. It's just out and out harassment, and it's got to stop.
Mr. Sykes?
Yeah, first of all, promoting and welcoming message for new residents. I think that's crucial, and I think the mayor and the city hall should take up that role. I would like to start a welcoming committee to welcome new residents moving into Ferrysburg. Maybe make a pamphlet explaining of all the amenities we offer here in Ferrysburg. Maybe have local businesses put in coupons to help promote their businesses. I think that would really help welcome the new residents and make them feel like they've joined a neighborhood and a community that cares and is thoughtful and willing to reach out to them and communicate. As far as bias in the city, I really don't see it. I think that we're a vibrant city with all kinds of cultures and all kinds of a mixture of people and a mixture of people that live their lives in different ways. And that's what makes us great as a community. And we need to cherish that and we need to promote that. Yes.
Mr. Cook?
I like the idea of a welcoming committee. I think Ferrysburg's greatest asset is its geography, its parks, and wildland spaces. These should be actively marketed to position Ferrysburg as a destination for outdoor recreation. Messaging should certainly be welcoming to visitors as well as residents. The only prejudice and bias that I've seen in Ferrysburg since growing up here and living here as an adult is a possible resistance to change. As I wrote in my targeted letter to postal voters, Ferrysburg is in need of a change that balances the existing character of the city and keeps pace with our neighbors. Spring Lake and Grand Haven have seen development in recent years, whereas Ferrysburg has stagnated. We've lost businesses, and previous administrations have considered bartering our city's greatest asset, natural spaces like Ferrysburg's Nature Preserve, for the repair of critical infrastructure like Smith's Bridge. I think the messaging to citizens and visitors is that we are a community open to change and evaluating new ideas.
Thank you. Next question. Please describe for voters what most clearly defines for you the nonpartisan nature of elected office in the city and why it matters that these roles are nonpartisan. Is your campaign receiving any support, money or personal, from Ottawa Impact, and/or are you supportive of OI's views regarding government authority? Can you work well with others for the best interest of Ferrysburg, regardless of political affiliation? We'll start with Mr. Carlson.
See if I can get through all these questions here real quick. Is my campaign receiving any money or personal support from Ottawa Impact? No. And/or are you supportive of Ottawa Impact's views supporting government authority? I'm not exactly sure about Ottawa Impact's views on government authority, but certainly I support the Constitution, the United States Constitution. And/or are you supportive of Ottawa Impact's views regarding governmental authority? I have no idea. Can you work well with others in the best interest of Ferrysburg, regardless of political affiliation? As I just stated earlier, pink, blue, red, black, I don't care. When I'm out searching to get somebody on a committee or whatever, I'm looking for talent, I'm looking for differing views. That's what it's all about, and that's what's going to be able to give us the energy to move forward. Eventually, we can get to some consensus on things, which is always fun, but it's good to have that good, healthy dialogue.
Mr. Sykes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
In my ears.
Yeah, you want to turn off? I think it's just go.
See, we're not the only ones who fly.
No, it's cool.
Sorry about that.
Hello, Mr. Carlson.
I was probably the only one hearing it. Turning to my hearing aids. Sorry.
Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Hold on, it's a long one. Please describe for voters what most clearly defines for you the nonpartisan nature of elected office in the city and why it matters that these roles are nonpartisan. Is your campaign receiving any support, money or personal, from Ottawa Impact, and/or are you supportive of OI's views regarding government authority? Can you work well with others for the best interest of Ferrysburg regardless of political affiliation?
Yes, thank you. Well, I feel first of all that potholes are nonpartisan. Property tax is nonpartisan, and these are the issues we deal with on city council. I've said before that city council is nonpartisan. We don't generally do, or we never actually do, the business of party affiliation on council. But I understand everybody up here considers us politicians, and they kind of want to understand and know where we stand politically, where our political views are, and I understand that. And I've never shied away or made excuses where I stand. As a matter of fact, I'll let everyone know right now I'm middle to the left, and I'm not shy of that. And what concerns me is that some folks tend to lead and by example of OI authoritism in council, and claim not to follow OI's way of leadership. And that's concerning to me. It's concerning when we're refusing to allow people to committees and not bringing their application forward, and we're silencing them. I don't believe that anybody should be silenced by city council. Every resident deserves representation from their city council, regardless of their partisan views.
Thank you. Mr. Cook?
I was recently endorsed by the On-Track organization along with 2 other council candidates, both of which are not here tonight, and 1 mayoral candidate. As I stated in a phone interview with Ferrysburg resident and On-Track chairperson Bruce Bishop, city election is nonpartisan, and I don't want to be influenced by any outside entities. I feel that once you accept help or financial donations, that the race becomes less about the needs of the city and more about the needs of the political party. Also, there is a strong trend toward groupthink or making decisions that are believed to be aligned with your supporting party's ideology, which may be at odds with what the city needs or wants. You as the elected official have to balance, if you're receiving outside help, the pressures of being accountable to citizens as well as a political action group who may have incompatible goals. I am the only person involved in my political party campaign and have received contributions from only 1 other person, a city resident who has publicly stated on social media they are not affiliated with Ottawa Impact. I am concerned with tribalism at a national and local level, which includes Ottawa Impact and its antithesis. My personal thoughts are that these are polarizing views. They cause inflexibility, fighting, and opportunities for agenda-driven politics to implement their plans while everyone else is distracted fighting with each other.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
Very quickly, I'm not supported by any special interest group. I have been offered, but I have declined. I do not want to be not Ottawa Impact, the other one that's out there. No, I don't take donations. I take I'm all personally funded for all my campaign. Real quick, Ottawa Impact. Their basic statement right from their website is to protect individual rights and freedom, prevent government overreach, constitutional support of the U.S. Constitution, eliminate government control of our daily lives, and parental control over government control. And those are what I've always supported. Parent rights, property rights, the U.S. Constitution. I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and protect our personal rights. Every single time I have voted, that's what I've taken into consideration. Always have. My special interest is you.
Thank you. On the issue of housing, what should Ferrysburg do to address the lack of housing, especially affordable housing in the city? And how can zoning ordinances figure into these solutions? Do you support things like the PUD housing development, known as Cottage Shores on Spring Lake? Do you support allowing accessory dwelling units in all residential districts, wherever they may be reasonably be accommodated? We'll start with you, Mr. Cook, or Mr. Sias, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes,
Sias.
Mr. Sias.
Yes, PUDs, touchy subject. I believe that PUDs can be used for good. I just don't think that PUDs in our neighborhoods are recommended. I think that if we're going to be developing inside our neighborhoods, we should follow the local zoning ordinances. Talking about Cottage Shores, that was a PUD gone rogue, in my opinion. We amended 7 zoning ordinances to push that development through. And it was right in the backyards of our fellow citizens. If it had been somewhere else, it would have been fine. If it was out in a field where it wasn't in the middle of a neighborhood, it would have been fine. But the fact that we amended 7 zoning ordinances to push through a development on our already overstressed and overdeveloped, most natural, precious natural resource we have in Ferrysburg, which is Smith's Bayou. The overdevelopment of the lakes and the lake shore is already threatening our waters and our oxidation of the waters. We're already having to treat it, and our residents are already having to pay the price for that. And if we keep putting more development on the lake shores, it's only going to increase.
Thank you. Mr. Cook?
The city should take a hard look at amending its zoning ordinance to make it easier to develop residential housing and give a preference to owner-occupied housing, as this is the biggest determining factor for middle-class success in our country. Did you know the median income in Ottawa County for a household is $87,000? Using the prevailing mortgage interest rate and the percent of budget for housing recommended by experts, this would put the all-in affordable housing price at $250,000. As of today, there are 8 condos or apartments available in 49456 zip code that are equal to or less than this figure. Did you know the zoning ordinance requires residential construction to have a garage? Or that the city just ended its discount program for water and sewer connection fees? These fees are paid just to have the ability to connect to water and sewer and do not include the actual cost of connection, which is required if these utilities exist in the right-of-way next to a vacant parcel. Currently, the connection fees for a rectangular parcel, meaning the minimum size for an R1 zoning area or parcel, is $15,000. You get nothing for that, just the right to connect to water and sewer. Yes, I support PUD developments and have given public comment at meetings in support of Cottage Shores. I love the idea of amending the zoning ordinance to allow accessory dwelling units.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
This is one question that I've not had a lot of time to research, and mainly because we don't have a lot of land left in the city to develop for housing. This would be something that I can see when they redevelop the commercial downtown district to include some housing along with the other buildings maybe down there. They had an opportunity to have some housing put up on 174th, but they decided to go with storage units instead, against the wishes of the neighbors of the area. And they also had to change, again, the zoning ordinances to accommodate that. If we can do it, great. Personally, I don't see exactly where we can develop property other than cramming them in like the Cottage Shores, which creates a safety issue when it comes to issues such as public services So I do see some issues with that. I'll have to take a closer look.
Mr. Carlson?
As I mentioned previously, we finished up our master plan at the end of last year, and two key things that the citizens identified was affordable housing and what we can do for business development, economic development. And of course, the master plan, we actively reached out. When I say we, I'm talking about the planning commission that I serve on. We reached out to all the residents, surveyed them. We had meetings here where you're all looking at different maps and everything else, and we're trying to identify what it is that the community is after. And that's what they were after, housing and economic development. So at Planning Commission, have we been talking about housing? Yes, we have. It's on the agenda right now, okay? We're looking at what we can do for PUDs, what we can do for accessory dwelling units, granny upstairs garage types of housing. We're looking at lot sizes. And can we potentially put tiny houses somewhere where you've got something where it's a standard lot size and split it in two? Do we need to have garages? What could we do for building height? One of the things that I've been disappointed about is Planning Commission talked about, hey, this might be a good time to take Pine Street down from 4 lanes to 2 because that's been identified by the master plan as something that the community was looking for. And we're getting ready to rebuild Pine Street. City Council voted not to do that, not to go to 2 lanes from 4. Planning Commission is actively reviewing the situation for housing.
Thank you. Next question. Would you support the city putting out a request for proposal for the best price and services for all Ferrysburg residents for trash pickup and recycling? And we'll start with Mr. Cook.
No, because I assume this would mean that residents would be required to use the city-selected vendor, and this is called price fixing. It also results in a lack of options for citizens, ultimately driving up the cost of the service once the increases start to come as part of the contract, and also lowers the standards of service provided by the selected provider.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell.
Basically ditto. He said everything I wanted to say about this because this is on the taxpayers. I'd be potentially paying for everybody's, we're all paying for tax. Also, I believe under section 5.23 of the city charter, it's not proper to do so. Thank you.
Mr. Carlson.
Right after I became mayor 2 years ago, I had coffee with Jerry Rabideau, who's a Spring Lake Township superintendent, and he's the new one, replaced John Nash. The first things out of his mouth, besides the fact of God bless you for getting involved in Ferrysburg politics, the next thing he wanted to talk about was don't get involved in trash, because that's what they're dealing with over there, and it's their biggest headache. So I'm not in favor. I'll follow Mr. Rabideau's advice and stay far away from trash. We used to have 4 carriers that were picking up trash here in Ferrysburg. So you had 4 days of trash trucks running through town. Now we've got it down where there's 2 trash companies and there's only 2 pickup days. Just like with the city contracting for leaf pickup. We only have 1 company that's interested in bidding on that. Right now, we have 2 companies servicing Ferrysburg. I just don't see a single vendor as being the solution.
Mr. Size.
Yeah, I concur with the rest of the candidates here. I believe that the citizens deserve a choice. First time there's issues with the garbage service, they will be complaining to City Hall, and it will just become a big issue for the city. I think we should leave it up to the citizens to choose. That's all.
All right, thank you. Next question. Some Ferrysburg residents have little to no cell service if elected. How would you address this vital utility and safety issue for a significant amount of your constituents? Would you support a zoning amendment to allow the construction of a cell phone tower? Mr. O'Donnell, we'll go with you first, please.
Not in my backyard. That's what you're gonna hear if you put this out.
You put it in my backyard.
Put it in your backyard?
There you go.
Okay. We've had problem. I'm the one that brought this issue to light many years ago when I was on city council. That's when we were talking about short-term rentals. I proposed to add into the rental agreements that rentals properties had to have a landline so they could have access to the 911. As a firefighter, I've responded multiple times out to North Shore Drive where people delayed calling for help because they could not get cell service. So this is very important. I would support it. Somebody wants it in their backyard, more power to you. I would also, if I lived out there, I would also support having it in my backyard. I'd get really good service. Also, I'd like to see, in addition to that, working with NORA to put in emergency phones in North Shore Beach and Ottawa Sands parks.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson.
Cell phone towers are on Planning Commission's agenda for this Thursday. So because of the fact that we're looking at it and saying, hey, can we potentially do something with the 2 petroleum terminals that are here in town? Can we do something with the height restriction right now at 75 feet? Could we potentially put a taller tower up somewhere that's not so close to the beach, but because of the height would reach the beach? We're aware we have a problem out there. Yeah, you've been talking about it a long time. I remember when we were talking about with short-term rentals. A lot of places out on North Shore, you cannot make a cell call. And that's got to be addressed. Planning Commission Thursday, right, Gary?
Mr. Sias.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that that's on the Planning Commission's agenda. That's an issue that we need to address, definitely. I was hoping that we maybe could fit it in on the Consumers Power property next to the highway on 31 there. But I don't know if that would be a sufficient spot for it. I believe that most of the problem out there is because of blockage from the dunes. So the closer that we could get the tower to North Shore, I believe better. I know there's some property in Kitchell Dunes that's private property and privately owned. Maybe that would be an option out there. It would be away from most residential areas and not bother anybody out there. And I would rather see that than a development go out there. A cell tower would be a lot less dense and do a lot less damage to the nature and to our preserve. It is something we need to address. We should also invite Grand Haven into the conversation. I think they would be able to help us if they're willing. They have the Dewey Hill over in Grand Haven, and I'm sure a tower up there would cover all of North Shore. So maybe we need to do some intermunicipality agreements, and maybe we need to reach out to Grand Haven and see how they feel about that. So that's all.
Mr. Cook.
As other people have mentioned, the Planning Commission has this on their agenda for its October 2nd meeting. The Planning Commission agenda actually includes a letter from a citizen requesting a cell phone tower for us to look at, who is also an employee of a major cell phone carrier. Past requests of this nature, according to city staff, have all focused on placing a tower on city-owned property. Guess where? Coast Guard Park. I believe that our parks and open spaces are our greatest asset, and feel that placing a cell phone tower on them would negatively impact the aesthetics and the park, and therefore I am not in support. I would urge cell phone providers to evaluate placement in neighboring communities, as others have already mentioned, and residents in the meantime to consider alternatives to address safety concerns, like using Wi-Fi mode for calls or obtaining a voice over internet protocol phone service, etc.
Thank you. Next question. If there was a proposed ordinance for lakefront property owners that would result in a significant yet positive impact on cleaner, less contaminated water for everyone, would you support it, even if there was some inconvenience or expense to those property owners? And we'll start with Mr. Carlson.
Probably 6 months ago, the city council approved the Spring Lake Board bond, which is for them to assess people around the lake in that district to clean up the lake. City also, many years ago, voted city council to no phosphorus and fertilizers within the city of Ferrysburg. And we do a tremendous amount of work for stormwater control here in the city and stormwater drainage permits. Reading this question, I wasn't exactly sure if the people were saying, hey, are we going to create a different district than what's already happening with the Spring Lake Board? Because that's a few $1 million worth of work to go into the lake that lake board controls. And I just can't see Ferrysburg getting involved in anything beyond that. Who's next?
Mr. Sias.
The last thing I wanted to do is put more expenses on the Lake Shore residents. They're already footing the bill for our cleanup, and in some ways I do feel that's unfair. We all enjoy the water, we all enjoy the waterways, and personally I think we all should chip in and help pay it. Unfortunately, that's not reality. The reality of it is they are responsible and on the hook for paying all of it, and that's the way it is at this point. Before we put any more expenses on those residents, I would like to see a watershed study done. I would like to see residents upstream and on the creeks and on the bayous that are not paying for this cleanup, especially upstream the farmlands and Fruitport, Morris Creek. All those residents along there, they all have septic tanks. They all leach into Morris Creek and flow right into Smith's Bayou and Spring Lake, and we need to address that. Those folks are not responsible for paying any cleanup fees, yet they're responsible for most of the damage done to our lakes and our waterways. So I would like to address different ways of payment and any way to spread out that cost on our residents.
Mr. Cook.
No, I think that this ordinance is not much different than designating a no-pee area of a swimming pool. I have a master's degree in water resources and can tell you that without a doubt, addressing the water quality of the lake involves a watershed approach. There have been several studies to date on Spring Lake and its water quality issues. I have met personally with one of the study authors, and what she told me and what is reiterated in all the studies is that it is a sediment load problem. So stormwater picks up sediment, there's bacteria and stuff adhered to the sediment, it goes into the lake, and well, you can look at it and it's green. So the lake board already exists to address this issue, and we're already paying for it. I'm not paying for it personally because I don't live on the water, but people who live on the water just got a huge increase. The amount is way higher than it was the year before. So I think the lake board is in a much better political position to influence the geographic region that better approximates the watershed. And that efforts at reform and cleaning up our lake should be focused on this body and not on another piece of legislation.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
Again, I'm going to say ditto, but I'm also going to say that I'm against any new taxes, and the fee on the ordinance of this would be a tax. And I'm also against heaping more ordinances on our property owners. There are studies, like Mr. Cook stated, that have been done, should be done, and there's other ways of mitigation of the problems in the lake.
Thank you. Doing really well on time here. Okay, next question. What is your main goal as a city servant? What type of leadership would you provide to help bridge the gap between citizens and city government to help encourage community engagement and participation? We'll start with you, Mr. Sias, first.
Well, my main goal as a city servant is really to bring unity to Ferrysburg. As most of us know, there's two factions in Ferrysburg that have been in each other for going on 20 years now. And I think that we've had enough of that as citizens, and I think the citizens are ready for a representative that cares for them and puts them first, and not their political allies or their friends or relatives or their neighbors. They put the city first. It's not always an easy thing to do, to tell your friend or neighbor no, but it's something that at some point we need to do. And we need to remember that we represent a whole community, not just our neighborhoods. And that's what I'd like to bring as a city servant. I would like everybody to have a voice and nobody to feel intimidated to speak out. I would like to see a city where you won't know our names because you'll never read about us in the paper because there's no political uproar. So that's the kind of servant I would like to be. Thank you.
Mr. Cook.
I'd like to see the information that the city puts out be more accessible. Right now, it's very difficult to find anything on the website. I've had to have multiple citizens show me where this information is. And when you open it, it's lots of pages of scanned documents. It's really hard for people who are not already familiar with city government to read through. I think putting the documents in a different format that's readable by a machine and using all these AI data centers for something good, having them summarize what's coming in the upcoming meeting, and then maybe have something go out on social media. The other comment I'll make about social media is I think it's very strange that the city has its social media site but does not allow anyone to comment on any of its posts. I find that kind of funny. The other thing I find funny is the postings on Ferrysburg Informed are somewhat inconsistent. So multiple people have posted, this is just my observation, that they've tried to share things, they aren't getting posted. I would just like to see people be more engaged with the city. It seems like a lot more people will chime in on social media, but then when there's a meeting, either not know when it is, what the topics are, or show up. Case in point, there was a planning commission meeting, I think a couple weeks ago. People were wanting to plan to come to it, and there was nobody in the audience. So public comment period was essentially wasted. Thank you.
Mr. O'Donnell.
I've been a public servant for my entire life, the last 45 years. I've served the public in different areas, law enforcement, police, fire, EMS, Coast Guard. On the city council as a council member for 8 years, and 6 of those as the mayor pro tem. And when I was on council, I always made myself available to people. It was out there, my website was up, or not website, but my email was there. And if somebody contacted me, I contacted them back. If someone wanted to meet with me, I met with them. Even if it was an ambush meeting. And what I mean by ambush is they're looking to twist whatever I say around. But still, I'm going to encourage people. If you want to talk, you got a concern, let me know. That's all. The only way I'm going to find out what the concerns are out there is by talking to people. I talk to people all day, and that's one of the reasons I'm running is because I've had a lot of people say, you need to run, we want you to represent us. So, communications, we need more of the signs like we have out here. That's a good start, but we need more, and we need it kept up to date. Our website needs to be kept up to date with all new information every time, every day. Thank you.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes. Well, I certainly appreciate the comments on the website. I wholeheartedly agree it needs work. It is a work in progress. And you can always feel free to welcome or email City Council or City Hall with any suggestions you have. One of the things that we did since I've been mayor is we came up with this graphical interface for City Council for goals with the hitting on fiscal responsibility, infrastructure and economic development, parks and recreation, and community confidence and safety. And we we actively go all the time and review this, and we're adding things and making revisions to this. We're trying to be as goal-oriented as possible. In terms of leadership, I try to be respectful. I try to run the meetings as best I can with Robert's Rules of Order, even though we have people that are using our processes and techniques to actively try to affect things. Like these ethics complaints that came out the meeting before, they file them on Thursday morning before they know the agenda comes out Thursday afternoon or whatever day it was. And they know the absentee ballots, which are 70% of the vote in Ferrysburg, come out right after the meeting. And so it's just active campaign of going after somebody. I've been very responsive to citizens, and I'm professional. In fact, that phone call I was getting was from a realtor for ZBA issues. So a lot of citizen contact. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're going to have time for 2 more questions before we go into closing statements. So the next question is, what master plan and city survey elements do you see as most important for your administration? We'll start with Mr. Cook.
Like I've stated before multiple times during this forum, I think protecting our natural areas is something the city residents find very important. I would like to continue to elevate those resources. So Ferrysburg Nature Preserve, I feel like is an underutilized park. Ferrysburg residents, some of whom I've talked to, don't even know where it is or how to access it. I think more marketing, possibly having some type of facility there, maybe a bathroom, maybe a drinking fountain. Other facilities in the city also need upgrades. I think the recent roof painting at the park, it looks great. I think the transformation of the Fire Barn Park is awesome. I bring my kids there all the time. Great park, but I think focusing on our natural areas, marketing that as something to draw in visitors and possibly new residents would be a great way to strengthen and grow our community.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell. Sorry guys, trying to stay consistent.
What master plan and city survey elements do you see as important to the administration? They're all important. Everything in the master plan is important to the city. We need to prioritize them and work on them as they come up. But I think while we're working on them, we should not get ahead of ourselves. Making plans for things that are not even in the wind yet. So, and this is a work in progress. We might have, I'd like to see maybe more citizen surveys over the years, where people come and present things as things change, as new ideas pop up. One of the plans is to develop our areas for lakeshore. It's an excellent idea. I've got some great ideas, and I'd like to present them when possible, at the appropriate time.
Mr. Carlson.
Okay. And the question was, what master plan and city survey elements? Is that correct?
Yeah, what are the most important to you? Yeah.
Okay, very good. Certainly, city branding is something that has been on city council agenda within the last couple months. We've been talking about branding. One of the ideas has been put forth, and I've spoke a couple times about it, like at the grand opening of our new Ottawa Sands, which is here in Ferrysburg, yeah, County Park, fantastic, is Ferrysburg City of Parks, and brand ourselves as that. We've got a lot, we're on 3 bodies of fantastic water, and we have got parks. If you haven't been out to Ottawa Sands, you need to get out there. Master plan identified housing and economic development. We're trying to do things for economic development with Planning Commission, looking at, what areas could we potentially change zoning laws to encourage commercial development. And of course, Planning Commission, when they're looking at the master plan, we're not looking at What's going to happen this year, or next year? We're looking at 5, 10, 20 years out. So that's why we're looking at Pine Street in terms of, hey, could we calm the traffic and potentially do something different in that stretch between the Citgo station and where Old Kent Bank is for however long that's a bank. So that's what Planning Commission is doing, is looking in long term. So housing, economic development, and city branding, City of Parks.
Mr. Sias.
Yeah, to me, the most important element we needed in Ferrysburg today is affordable housing. A lot of our residents and a lot of our apartments are full, and there's not enough available space for even the people who work in our city. They can't even afford to live here. So creating more affordable living is top priority. I do not believe in the big gargantuan apartment complexes. I would rather see more fourplex and duplex type developments. I don't want big apartment complexes. I don't think that Ferrysburg could sustain that type of development with our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is already being stressed. Most of the complaints we get in the city is because of speeding and traffic. So we need to keep that in mind when we're thinking about developing. We need to think about smart development, so we're not putting or overloading one area of the city with too much density and too much development, while other parts of the city are pristine and park-like. So we need to spread out the development. We need smart development, and it's something that my administration would work hard on to bring affordable housing.
Thank you. And now for our last question of the evening. What idea would you propose that would increase revenue streams into the city? We'll start with Mr. O'Donnell.
Develop our core commercial district down along Pine Street and 3rd Street. We got lots of land there. Like Mayor Carlson said, we are a city of parks. 26.1% of the city is parkland. I would love to see the Ferry Park is the hub for 6 bike paths. Every person that travels to West Michigan has to pass through Ferry Park, no matter what bike path they're taking. It would be great to have that area built. Let's have it like a rest area for, like they have on the roads, where bikers can stop and hikers can stop. Bring in businesses, like the sports shops, hiking, biking, and bring those in, have those people bring in businesses. I think it would bring in a lot of business, it would bring a lot of revenue for this city. Hike it, bike it, like it.
Mr. Carlson.
Revenue stream, City Council, we've, in the last probably 6 months, I guess it was, that we addressed rental rates here in City Hall. This is quite a large building that we have here, and we have a number of different rentlers, and we have renegotiated all the contracts. And it's funny, I usually sit back there as mayor, and I have the city manager sitting here, and he's the guru, so I can ask him. I think it would be 6 months ago, but we renegotiated all the contracts, and that's going to help a lot with the revenue. And I certainly agree with Mr. O'Donnell in terms of Pine Street, looking down 10, 20 years down the road, you could see things happening. And I think as Ottawa Sands develops, that's going to be a fantastic magnet, because right along with it, you've got our North Beach, and you've got North Ottawa, and you've got KLH Dunes Preserve. I mean, there's a lot of natural assets out there that as they grow in popularity, we're going to be getting a lot more traffic here in town. And I think it's going to open up retail opportunities. In terms of housing, what we're looking at is, the small footprints homes, and that would create opportunities for home ownership rather than, as Jerry was saying, we don't necessarily need more apartment buildings. We would love to see opportunities for people to have home ownership, and tiny homes where it's a smaller lot size might produce an opportunity for a lot more people to buy homes.
Mr. Sides.
Yeah, I have several ideas to bring in outside revenue. One I have already touched on earlier is an arts council. Like I said earlier, I believe that would be a great opportunity not only to create community involvement, but also bring in outside revenues. Another way that we could bring in outside revenues is I would like to see us capitalize on the 4th of July a little more. Fruitport has Memorial Day and Grand Haven has Coast Guard. Nobody really celebrates 4th of July in this area. I think maybe we could look at making that a week-long festival, bring in maybe entertainment and different things for a community to be involved in. Of course, this would create or demand a lot of manpower and a lot of volunteer work, but I think if we created just a 4th of July committee just to concentrate on that celebration, it could be feasible. So I think that's a good idea. And not only that, but that would help bring more money in to feed our local businesses and to attract new businesses to Ferrysburg. That's the thing. We need to give them a reason to come here. If they can't sustain their business, they're not going to move here. So we really need to keep that in mind.
Mr. Cook.
As you heard from the other participants tonight, raising revenue is really difficult for a city. There's only certain things that can be done within a legislative context. The most obvious is to either increase taxes, which nobody here tonight probably wants. The other option is to bring in more people. So I would be in full support of developing downtown Ferrysburg, the Pine Street corridor, bringing in more businesses, more tourists, building more options for affordable housing so that we can increase the property tax revenue that we're already getting. That's it.
Thank you. Well, we have gone through all of the time that we have for questions, and now we're going to move on to closing statements. So gentlemen, you'll have 90 seconds to do that. And I think that in the cycle we are at Mr. Carlson, so we will cycle through the panel with him beginning.
It's been an honor to serve as your mayor, and I'm asking you for your vote to continue the progress that we've made together. Over the past few years, I've stayed focused on bringing positive, real change to the city. And a few of the accomplishments I'm really proud of. We've been able to maintain the lowest property taxes in the Tri-City areas, and that's something that I think all of us are committed to doing. City Council has been committed to doing it for years, and we've got a bang-up city manager to help make that happen with the budget. We do operate under budget. Our fund balances are increasing. Our long-term pension costs left over from the police department when we had our own police department are decreasing. We ended the payments into Grand Haven snowmelt system, and now we're taking action on that. I've definitely stayed engaged in the progress to the new Smiths Bridge, and that's moving forward. As I said earlier, the bids go out in June of 2026. And I certainly support all smart housing and business development, with the guiding principle being our master plan, because that's what all of us were involved in here over the last year putting together. I've partnered with residents to fix traffic issues as council has on North Shore. I'm up to my gills in short-term rental issues and a bunch of other issues. And I certainly have encouraged a lot of fresh voices and new outlooks on boards and commissions.
Mr. Sias.
Ferrysburg has been my home for all my life, all of you know that. And what matters to me most is the people in Ferrysburg. Before developments, before roads, before taxes, the people come first. I am committed to making sure everybody in Ferrysburg feels welcome and feels committed to being part of our city and being part of our city government. I want to bring unity, and I want to bring compassion back to our city council. I know that we have maybe run our meetings professionally, but sometimes we need a little more compassion and a little more understanding. And if you ran for city council and you are concerned about meetings taking too long or somebody speaking too much or too long, then maybe you're in the wrong business. And that's all I got to say.
Mr. Cook.
Again, I was raised in Ferrysburg. I lived here for the first 18 years of my life. I am a relatively new resident, newcomer to the political scene. I am the only person, I will remind you, who is not an incumbent and who has not previously served on city council. In 2023, there were several new candidates who ran, and 2025, here I am, I'm the only one. As you've heard tonight, others have alluded to, bad politics, infighting between two factions. I think really to solve that, you need new people who aren't afraid to run, who aren't afraid to sit up here and answer questions for 90 minutes on a random, I think it's Tuesday night. I get my nights confused, but I think if we're gonna grow the city, the average age of our citizens right now is, I think, 57 years old. That has increased by about 18 years since the 2000 census. We've got to bring in new people, new ideas. There are a lot of young residents who've moved to Ferrysburg. Frankly, I think that people think they don't have time or they're afraid to sit on a city board. So if you see me up here, you see this recording and think, I could never do that. Yes, you could. We need more new people. Thank you for your consideration.
And Mr. O'Donnell.
I'm up here because of you. Every single person in this room is why I'm up here, is to be your representative. I'm here because I have a passion for the job. If I didn't have a passion, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have served years as a public servant. We need city representation in Lansing. Smith Bridge was funded because of the representation in Lansing. I was a member of the committee for the infrastructure, communications, and transportation committee. I was a group of city leaders that advised the legislatures on the legislation that was before the State House and the State House of Representatives. We need fiscal responsibility. When we were looking at fire trucks, we had several different options. There was one, I loved it. If I was buying it and I had the money to spend, I would have bought it. But I came back to, no, we are looking at what is fiscally responsible, what is the best for the residents of the city, which is always the question I ask before I make any decisions. And so we're going with another option. We're not getting my dream truck. Passion versus compassion. My special interest is all of you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And that brings our forum to a conclusion. Sorry there were some hiccups along the way, but I think that this was a great forum all in all. And
So too, and the timing and everybody that showed up. Thank you for showing up.
And thank you to the citizens who submitted those questions. That was a culmination of probably 15 to 20 questions that we received after we advertised the forum, and we tried to represent in some way, shape, or form all of the citizen concerns.
What is your website? Your website?
It'll be up on OttawaNewsNetwork.org and also at GrandHavenTribune.com.
And my website is WGHN.com, and it's free. And so as terms, I wanted to mention that. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. And we do have a podcast called 2 J's in a Pod, and we started the podcast because there was so much news in Ottawa County, I couldn't deliver it in a 4-minute newscast. There was no way. We were spending 6-7 hours watching county meetings. We had no life for 2 years. And so, she didn't, but we decided to do a podcast so that we could expand talking about what happens in Ottawa County, because you can't cover it in a 4-minute newscast. And newsrooms are empty these days. Yeah. They just are. That's the way it is. And so, please, if you could listen to our podcast, 2 J's in a Pod. J stands for journalist or joker, I'm not sure, but I think it's journalist. Jazz hands, yeah. So we'll talk about this. This was I'm honored to be a part of this forum tonight. I think it's wonderful that everybody that showed up and all the people that submitted those questions. It takes time to show up, and it shows that you care and that you're invested, and that's important. So,
Thank you.
and it's way past my bedtime.